All right, welcome to Season 5, Episode 9, also known as Episode 145 of the Retro Game Club podcast. I am Hugh, and joining me is someone who just successfully blew up a $10 million rocket, Rob.
Yeah, it is. We're all celebrating here. It's exactly what we wanted to happen. It's the first step to Mars. I guess if you wanted to blow up Mars, that was a success.
You have to get the rocket there first before beforehand.
Yeah. Elon should really start doing his test launches on the 4th of July and just call them fireworks.
That would be good, yeah. Yeah, maybe he should spend less time on social media. That would be my suggestion to him if he's listening.
Yeah. I mean, that might fix itself soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since it doesn't seem like it's going well there.
I deleted my Twitter account well over 2018, 6, 7, 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah. I have no reason to go there. I'm thankful Zach does.
Yes, but thank you to all of our listeners who do leave feedback on Twitter, who have decided not to leave the platform yet.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have something new soon. Mastodon. What else? What else is there? What's his name from Twitter? The old guy. He's not old. He's probably younger than me. The old ex-CEO just released his new Twitter competitor. I guess its gimmick is you could pick which recommendation algorithm it uses on you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not very interested in that.
So a long time ago, I don't keep stats on my personal website anymore. I stopped tracking it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a Google competitor called cool.com. It wasn't spelled COOL. It had a Celtic spelling.
Oh, I was going to say, is it the cigarette company?
No, not the KOOL either. And that was the gimmick. There was a bunch of ex-Google people, like these Twitter clones, and they're ex-Google people, so they must be geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
And they had millions of dollars in funding to launch this search engine that was an alternative to Google, right?
Yeah.
And it eventually folded. And I was looking at an article, and it made some comment about they never broke more than 200,000 views a month. It was something like that. I don't have the number memorized. I'm like, wait a minute. And I went and looked at my web blogs. I'm like, oh, I get more views than that.
Nice. That's awesome.
My page with some random catalog scans gets more views than this thing that had millions of dollars in venture capital funding. And that's when I stopped looking at stats because it was really depressing to think about it that way.
Geez, for 2 years, what was that? From 2009 to 2011, something like that. I ran a music startup website, where you put your bands, kind of like a Bandcamp type thing. And I'm pretty proud of it. It actually did all right. And at that time, if you searched for your band on Google, my site came up first before MySpace. Everything else that was popular at the time. I was pretty happy about that one. The fact that someone with zero funding, if you just kind of spend a little time and think about it and keep it simple, you could kind of beat these guys at their own game.
Mm-hmm.
But what have you been up to? We haven't recorded a real episode in a very long time.
Yeah, I guess. So, what have I done? Where I put stuff in notes here. I've been purposely avoiding the Zelda trailers. I don't know if that matters to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was planning to I actually didn't watch any Breath of the Wild trailers either. I just figure I already pre-ordered the game, so just go ahead and be surprised, right?
Yeah, that's 3 weeks away, right?
Yes, 3 weeks away. We'll see who ships a pre-order faster, Target or Amazon.
Did you order them from both?
I ordered a copy from both, yeah.
Wow. I did Best Buy. Best Buy usually gets me pretty good. Amazon's been bad lately, just for games. Everything else it's been fine with.
Yeah, well, the last game I pre-ordered from Amazon came 2 weeks late, so I'm a little down on that. Yeah, because I have kids and stuff that also, are going to want to play the game, so I just figured I'd get more than one copy.
Yeah. So what happens if if one comes in before the other? Do you get to play it, or do they?
No, my kid will get it first. I can wait. It's not really that urgent.
You're not writing a how-to on day one?
No, and I mostly play older games anyway, so Really, I should wait 12 years before playing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Even though it was, I think it was an April Fool's joke, I did order Night Trap for Game Boy Advance.
Wow.
Did you see that?
I don't think so. I'm going to Google this now.
Yeah, it was they limited run games announced it on like April 1st, so I assumed it was a joke, but they took my money, so it must be real. I don't know.
Wow.
It's like a video, though. It's like one of those compressed Game Boy videos. So you aren't really playing the game. You're just watching a playthrough of the game on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, for real? You can't play it at all?
It's non-playable. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Video only. Wow. All right. That's interesting.
So that's something.
It's sold out. Sold out.
Well, they only offered it for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's sold out or something else.
Yeah.
And then I had Midwest Gaming Classic. Went to Midwest Gaming Classic. Well, we were gone. And I'll post a link to my notes or my feedback or whatever. Zach will, not me. I don't post anything. But I will. I'll put this out there. It'll get more views than at least one of the Twitter clones out there.
What are your anything you wanna highlight on this podcast about it?
Well, I mean, it was very. I mean, it was definitely very busy there. I sometimes wonder if they have to move to a bigger space again, but I don't know where they would go. You know, the next size up convention center is probably 10 times as much money.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess. A lot of new pinball games. When I say new, like, you know, from like manufacturers, and they probably could have brought like 50 of each cabinet because they were just all packed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they brought like there were a couple of new James Bond pinball games.
Yeah,
based
those
on
are
like the 70s movies.
Yeah, those are hot right now. Yeah.
The Foo Fighters pinball was there. So that always had a line, and there was like a new Scooby-Doo pinball.
That's not by Stern. That's by a different company. I heard the Scooby-Doo one is great.
It looked pretty good. Yeah, I got to try it for a little bit. It reminds me a lot of like the Baby Yoda pinball game.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. And what else was new? Toy Story 4 pinball was like a new thing there.
Oh, I didn't know that came out. Huh.
Yeah, it has like a screen with a bunch of graphics. It's a lot like the ride at Disney World. Have you ever been on that?
I can't remember. We just went to Disney World in October, or Disneyland, and I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't know if that ride is at Disneyland or not.
I know we went on the Buzz Lightyear ride.
No, this is the thing where you're like, you have to wear like goggles and it's a shooting game.
Yeah, that's what Buzz Lightyear was.
Okay, well maybe it's
similar.
It's
kind of same. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the Toy Story ride in Disney World now. And then like, you know, the vendor is a little bit different. There's a lot of people selling things that aren't games now just because there's only so many copies of old games you can sell. So a lot of different vendors, a lot of insane prices. A lot of people really, you know, kind of go home you're drunk kind of prices on stuff. So that was kind of I guess not a surprise. You had some questions. What did you ask me here?
Oh yeah, you mentioned in your article, you were thinking about getting an R4 card for your DS, and I just said like, please buy one. They're so cheap. Yeah, they were like someone had like a box of them for like $15 a piece there. Yeah, that's about how much they go for on Amazon and stuff like that. I definitely recommend it. And then you had someone was selling a vending machine.
Yeah, someone was selling a 5-hour energy drink vending machine. And you also sold, I don't really remember seeing it again. So someone probably bought it. I guess if you mark them up $1 a piece and you put them in your office, maybe you break even pretty quickly. I don't know. I've never had a 5-hour energy drink.
I think I had one in college and never wanted anything to do with it again.
Yeah. I mentioned the show was completely packed except in the vendor hall, which was always very, very busy. There was a WADA table, if you're familiar with the folks at WADA Games.
Oh, yes.
And that table was always completely abandoned. It had like 3 people sitting there looking bored all day. So I guess people at Midwest Gaming Classic aren't fans of WADA games.
I don't get people who would want to get a game graded by WADA? Like, do they really think it's a scam? I mean, of course it's a scam.
Well, it's a speculative trading thing, right? You have a small group of people who have been trading boxed games amongst themselves for incredibly inflated prices, and they need new people coming in to what's the term I'm looking for? To be marks for their business, right?
Yeah.
You need new people coming in thinking that these sealed games are worth insane amounts of money and buying them so that you can continue this
Ponzi
alleged
scheme.
business.
Yeah, that's what NFTs are. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, here you at least have a physical game
that you can't play.
NFTs, NFTs, I can start an NFT. You can start an NFT. I can make 1 million NFTs, right? That part's easy. But here you actually you have to own a sealed game, I suppose. But these sealed games aren't going to be worth anything one day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very, very poor investment.
Oh, yeah. And then in your article, you mentioned Nate's coming out with Doodle World 2. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Nate that, and I'm only half joking, but I think there should be 2 Doodle World 2s. I think there should be one that's almost exactly the same to Doodle World, except a little bit harder. And then one that's just a reskin of Doki Doki Panic called Doodle World USA.
Okay. Yeah, the version there, Nate had admitted like he had just finished it the night before, like finished that demo.
Oh wow.
So it was kind of buggy. It did freeze up at one point, so that's I didn't want to talk about it a lot because I don't want to like give people a bad impression. The first game is good. This game will end up being good too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it was definitely like, here's a preview.
That's cool though. It's good to get the hype out there. So I'm excited for it. It is definitely sight unseen. It is a cart I will be buying. Anything else you wanted to mention from?
No, I think that's good for now.
Cool. Let's see. What the heck was I up to? Oh yeah, man, it's been a while since we've actually talked. I sold some of my arcade cabs, first time in a long time. I sold my Capcom Multi and I sold my Donkey Kong cab. And I sold a bunch of parts too. Like I had a Yar Kung Fu PC board and marquee. I had a Defender board and control panel. Just a lot of stuff like that. That it's like, am I ever going to do anything with this stuff? So finally got rid of all of it. I still have my two favorite cabs behind me, and Centipede is there as well. One thing I want to mention that I didn't want to put in news is Microsoft blocked emulation on Xbox. Now that's kind of a clickbait title because you could still go into dev mode and do all your emulation. So it's not quite the same, but that was kind of the only reason to own an Xbox. So, there's almost no reason anymore. And I'm going to contradict myself in other show notes, but Microsoft employee put out a post saying that it was because of Nintendo, because the Dolphin emulator was so good on the Xbox and so many people were using it that Nintendo took notice and asked Microsoft to stop. Now, is that real? I don't know. It kind of sounds like Nintendo.
It kind of does. And again, I don't know how much of I don't know how legit the Dolphin emulator is. Like,
it's awesome.
Well, no. Oh. What I mean is, we still do have like the DMCA and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like how reverse engineered it is versus how like greenfield it is, right? Like if you've decompiled Nintendo assets to create the emulator, that's unfortunately not legal. Well,
No.
I mean, it's probably fortunately legal. And I don't know how that Dolphin emulator works.
I don't think so, because it's been around for a while. It's not like they're taking down the Dolphin emulator and going after them.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're hosted in Siberia or someplace where they can't. I don't know.
Yeah. And then, so that kind of sucks. Speaking of Nintendo sucking, I saw the Mario movie. No spoilers. Here's my quick review. My kids loved it.
Okay.
I personally felt that it was beautiful. Its soundtrack was incredible, and it totally lacked soul and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
There's
counterpoint. It's for kids.
It's for everybody.
I think it's for kids.
And no, Hugh, you are 100% wrong for two reasons.
Okay.
For two reasons. One, it's for everyone. And B, there are many kids' movies that are incredible. You named one earlier, Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4, yeah.
Kids' movies don't need to suck. But it made $1 billion, so they'll make, 100 of these.
Yeah.
But I think the Sonic movies are actually really funny and entertaining. Probably Mario makes better games and Sonic makes for a better movie. I don't know. You didn't see this movie, right?
No, I did not. My youngest kid did. But I guess, she's a teenager and she with some friends and they seem to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I was almost bored watching it. Like, there's a bunch of Easter eggs and stuff like that in there. And again, the soundtrack was incredible. But still, I was kind of bored. It's kind of like, what am I doing here? So that, not to get down on it, when Mario 2 comes out, I'm sure I'll see that too. It's just how I am. What else? I've been fighting a lot with C++, trying to build my little ROM sorting tool. And my review of C++ is that it's an easy programming language with a criminally annoying packaging and build system. So if any of our listeners knows anything about C++ or CMake, please reach out to me. And then Hi-Fi Rush is the game I'm playing now before Tears of the Kingdom comes out. Have you heard of this one?
No, I have not.
Okay, so this is where I'm contradicting myself with an Xbox not being worth anything anymore, but Hi-Fi Rush is for Microsoft systems, which includes Steam because of Proton, and that's what I'm playing it on, Steam Deck. And it is fantastic. This game is great. So you play a guy named Chai that, you want to be a rock star. This is like in the far distant future, like you have a robot arm. And you go to this corporation for, I don't know, whatever reasons, and you end up somehow getting a music device pushed into your heart, kind of. It's hard to explain.
Okay.
And so
you survived this.
Oh, yeah, for the better, too. And so now the company thinks you're a defect and wants you dead, and you now, because of this device inside of you, like the whole area of the city goes to the beat of your music. So you're running, you're fighting, and everything around you kind of goes to the beat. So it's a rhythm game. You don't need to be on tempo, but it does give you, your punches land harder and stuff like that when you're on tempo. The graphics, this better win like a lot of sound awards and music awards because it's just incredible. The way it all lines up, and also the actual music. There's a lot of real bands in there. Like the first boss, you fight to 9 Inch Nails. What's it, like 10,000 somethings? I don't know what the name of the song is. And it's the first game where I really feel like I'm playing inside of an anime. But not like, I don't know. It really feels like you're in a cartoon. I would describe it as Ratchet and Clanks meets Devil May Cry meets Jet Set Radio. There's a lot of, you use your entire controller, a lot of buttons, a lot of combos. You could jack down the difficulty if you want. I didn't. I left it at normal. And it's just, it is a really fun game. I'm really into this. I'm really annoying my family with it because I've been kind of playing it in the family room while they're watching TV.
Okay.
And, sometimes they're like, can you turn that down a little bit? I'm like, no, I'm jamming here and I need to hit to the beat. So maybe, even though I'm the one on the handheld, I'm like, no. But, yeah, so very into this game. I'm hoping I beat it before Zelda comes out, and I should be able to because it's about a 10 to 12 hour game. So, yeah, that was kind of a lot of stuff, but we really haven't had a real episode in a while.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, we did record 2 new extra episodes, which are for other TV shows we watched, Game Master and Bad Influence. So if any of our listeners are into those, maybe catch up on a few episodes on YouTube. So when we release those, you'll have a fresh memory.
Yes, and I don't keep track. Like I subscribe to our show on like Spotify, but I don't listen to it because why would I want to listen to myself for an hour?
That's how I
Why
am
would
too.
anybody want to listen to me for an hour? I don't really understand that myself. But so I don't even know which ones we've released and which are still in the queue.
I think it's just those last 2 that we have, the ones we just recorded.
Okay.
But we're about 20 minutes in, and I guess we maybe we'll start a podcast episode here.
Let's do that.
All right. So these news items are from the past many weeks, so it doesn't even matter because this is a retro show anyway. But
Yes.
the PCFX from NEC, which is, the follow-up to the TurboGrafx, someone is thinking about releasing an ODE for it, so an optical drive emulator, like an SD card type thing.
Yeah.
And he put out an interest check before a Kickstarter, which I think is a good idea. Like, do people actually want this thing?
Yeah. I don't know if I want to meet the person who needs this thing. The PCFX, it's always a system I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of want to try this system. It looks interesting. And then I look at the game library and I'm like, oh, I'm going to end up on a watch list.
Oh, yeah. It's hentai game. It's hentai dating simulators, right? Yeah. That's about it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. The graphics on it look great. I've never played one. Everyone knows I'm a TurboGrafx person, but again, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a competitive system. I mean, it was very underpowered. It, I guess was supposed to compete against the PlayStation. Wasn't really very close.
Yeah, and its game library was not great. I don't even think it had a bonk game for it.
Well, I opened up the Wikipedia article. I figured that the Wikipedia article that lists the games probably won't put me on a watch list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There is the sequel to JB Harold Murder Club. That would be kind of interesting because I'm one of the few people on Earth who finished the original game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a bonk game. Oh, Return to Zork is on there. But again, it's all going to be in Japanese, so you'd have to get a translation.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, there's, a lot of, you are dating someone inappropriately young sim games.
Yes. Yeah. Upskirt emulator.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the title of one of these. I don't know.
Oh, what else do we have here? We have Open PS2 Loader has been updated, so now it'll support a hard drive of any size and make it way easier to load your games into your PS2 that has a hard drive in it, which is kind of neat.
So this would be the original. Wait, what model of PS2 would this work with?
Any PS2 you could put a hard drive into. So I don't think the Slims, possibly the Slim, I don't know.
The Slim has USB ports. I don't know where I would put a hard drive in that. I have to look. It's probably got to be like FAT32. It's probably a bunch of like weird limitations, right? Because it's older technology.
Well, now this says it could support any size, so maybe it's not FAT32. Maybe it's something different. But this says it does use USB if you want, or it could use the internal hard drive. Yeah, 2 terabytes. So FAT32 does not support 2 terabytes.
It does not. Well, yeah. Well, wait a second. EX. Oh, I think of EXFAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can format, like your phone can have 2 terabytes, and it's EXFAT, but that is different. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it's talking about FAT32, but it's talking about avoiding it.
Actually, the maximum FAT32 size is indeed 2 terabytes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The other limitations, I think.
Oh,
you can't have a single file larger than 4 gig.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the other one, yeah.
So that can hinder them. That's right.
So that's the theoretical limit of FAT32. It is probably what it supports.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not a
Interesting.
theoretical limit; it's a hard limit.
Oh, but you can use ext4 if you want, or NTFS. Wow, cool. Pretty cool. So, what else do we have here? A quick video on how to upgrade your 3D effects Voodoo card, which I had. Did you ever have these?
Yeah, I don't remember which video card I own now. I think everybody owned one of these in the late 90s. So
Yeah, I think I started with the two. No, I started with the Banshee, which was the one that I had the 3DFX one, and then I had the Banshee, which I forget if that was Voodoo 2 or Voodoo 3, but it was finally an all-in-one card, so you actually had the 2D built in. And the 2D was horrible.
So this is if you want, basically, if you want to have the original hardware experience, you want to run a computer with original, like, 90s hardware running Windows 95 or whatever, but you want more memory in your video card.
Yeah, so the first part is how to get 6 meg, because it came with 4, but it could support up to 8. So first part is a 6 meg mod, and the second part is an 8 meg mod. Doesn't look too difficult. And I'm bad at soldering. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah, more emulation stuff. So, Mesen is an NES emulator, and they just updated it to have HD packs, and this is insanity. So, if you look at like YouTube videos of Mesen HD packs, it's crazy. It looks often better than the SNES could do, and the way this does it is that it overlays it on top of the game. So there's no added latency other than, what you get from an emulator. But it's bypassing the NES's limitations. And it is nuts. It is beautiful. There are a ton of games that you could get really cool stuff for, like really cool backgrounds and sprites too. So definitely check this out. If you don't try this for yourself, definitely just watch a video of it because it is neat. And it doesn't look too difficult to do. It looks difficult to create them, but not to use them. Other thing that looks neat is Final Fight CD with the actual arcade colors. This is just on romhacking.net, and it's just a patch.
A palette hack for the CD version, yeah.
Which, if this is...
I didn't play the original game enough to realize that the colors were totally off.
Yeah, I mean, that was the nice thing back in the day, where by the time you got home from the arcade, you didn't have the palette, like, memorized into your brain, like, you didn't take photos and compare them, but if this was possible in the first place, why would they even change the palette? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that palette looked better on. They thought it looked better on TVs. I don't know.
Yeah. Really weird. Oh yeah, some big MiSTer news. I'm a big MiSTerFPGA advocate, and the Saturn can now work on the MiSTer. So a lot of games are working, not all of them. This is still in beta or alpha. And another developer is working on an N64 core. So the way this one developer works is he builds his own emulator first, like software emulator, just so he can learn how the system works. And then he builds an FPGA core. And so he thinks that N64 will work, but the fact that they thought that the 32X wouldn't work because it was dual processor, and then they thought the Saturn wouldn't work because it was dual processor, there's only so many gates in the FPGA, whatever the FPGA is that it uses. And then the N64 is a giant MIPS R4000 processor, plus other things going on in there. So I don't know if I'd be surprised if the N64 one actually came out, but if it did, I think a lot of the internals of the N64 are also in the Neo Geo 64, maybe.
The Neo Geo 64 was kind of a niche. That was an arcade only system, right? That wasn't a
yeah.
that you couldn't buy that at home, and I don't know who's. Well, I suppose someone wants to emulate that, but
When you were working in the game store, did you have Neo Geo there? AES systems?
no, we did not. Well, okay, I got to put a little asterisk there. So when I started there in '92, they were clearing out the Neo Geo. They were getting rid of all Neo Geo games.
In
So
in 92. Wow.
in '92, yeah, the chain just didn't want to carry it anymore. So we had a rack. Well, like literally the day I started, we had a rack of Neo Geo games for, I don't know, $2 or $3 a piece.
No.
Oh yeah, seriously, yeah.
Whoa.
It was a lot of like Baseball Stars. Was that a Neo Geo game?
But still, just buy it.
Yeah, we had like a dozen copies of like Baseball Stars and maybe something else, and they had marked them. They kept marking them down. No one was buying them.
Mm-hmm.
And back in that time, like they would just keep marking stuff down until it went to like 99 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, if after like so many months it didn't sell at 99 cents, it would just be like, hey, just throw it out.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we probably trash compacted a decent number of Baseball Stars.
Wow. Any systems? Like were the systems being blown out?
The systems are already gone.
Okay.
Yeah, they probably had marked down the systems, but they maybe only had one or two of those in stock anyways.
So people would buy 2 systems and like a few games, and then you had the rest of the games hanging
Well, they
out.
buy one system and one copy of Baseball Stars, but we had like, imagine we had 2 systems and 20 copies of Baseball Stars, some kind of ratio like that.
Yeah.
So the systems would get cleared out. They probably weren't cleared out for. I don't know what they were cleared out for. But it was certainly less than, well, let's say it was less than whatever I don't know, $100 off. Let's say I wasn't there. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the games, yeah, they would get marked down first to like, $40 and $30 and so on, right? Until eventually it was just get them out of here.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the same thing kind of happened with Dreamcast after it was discontinued, where people got those pretty cheap, and now those games are getting up there.
Yeah, I was just checking. So I have these like old catalog scans, from like Electronics Boutique catalogs. The last catalog that has Neo Geo in it is the fall 1991 catalog I posted, which has Sengoku Baseball Stars for $200, Top Players Golf, Ninja Combat, Ghost Pilots, and League Bowling. I don't remember any of those other games.
Wow.
Oh, let me see if Christmas 91 still has Neo Geo. Nintendo, Game Boy. There's still a Neo Geo page in the Christmas 91 with the same games I just listed. It's basically the same page from the previous catalog. And then if I go to Spring 92, this is getting close to when I worked there.
Mm-hmm.
Spring 92, I do not see Game Gear. I do not see Neo Geo in Spring 92.
Wow.
So it must have been after Christmas 91, they started clearing it out. I started working there like fall 92. So I would have been there after many rounds of markdowns on the Neo Geo games.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was like you could not get rid of Baseball Stars.
I mean, I don't blame them. Yeah. It's not like you were selling the good Neo Geo games for cheap.
Yeah, no, nobody wanted Baseball Stars. I'm sorry. Somebody, I'm sure, still has some copy of that game they bought for 99 cents or whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure it's worth some money now, at least. But then our last news item, Atari acquires over 100 classic video games from Accolade, Infogrames, and Microprose. So, they got Bubsy, I guess. I wonder what else they actually got from Accolade. Like, Ace of Aces was a great game. Test Drive is a great game.
Yeah, I mean they're turning more and more. I mean the company that owns the Atari IP, right? They're an IP holdings company at this point.
Yeah,
which is
totally.
fine. Like Embracer or
Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft makes products though. Like the Atari holding company doesn't make products.
Yeah.
They may contract people to develop a compilation for them, right?
Yeah.
This is some interesting IP, but I don't know. Was Bubsy ever big?
Yeah, just not really in the States.
Okay.
But like Star Control 2, that might be cool to bring something like that back. What else? I doubt they'd bring back Jack Nicklaus Golf. But if they did some arcade stuff, maybe Hardball, and then Microprose. I don't know what they got from them, but I mean, there are a lot of IPs in there.
Yeah, but you also don't know what they like previously had sold, right? I don't know if Microprose, they made some cool PC games. I remember that.
There's no way that Atari owns Civilization. That's one that it's just a given.
Yeah, I think Microsoft actually might own that.
And then there's XCOM, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they actually own from that.
Right, because like Star Control 2, I don't think they own the full Star Control IP. I think they own that specific game. I think there was some dispute when like someone wanted to make a Star Control 3. This was some retro gaming controversy a while ago. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, they'll probably put this stuff into some kind of collection. I mean, the Atari 50 collection was pretty good, so why not have the Bubsy collection or whatever else?
Yeah, or like make a remaster or something. And, I'm kind of lightening up on this Atari company. Like they do still do some stupid stuff like NFTs or whatever.
Their NFT hotel?
Yeah, that went away. That stopped.
Okay, they aren't doing the hotel anymore.
No, but They do still do some stupid stuff. But, like you said, the Atari collection was great, or Atari 50. And who knows, they might do good stuff with this. I kind of think of them like I think of Konami, where everyone still kind of says like, oh, Konami's, a pachinko and gym company. Where it's like, well, that was true maybe 7-10 years ago, but with the Switch and a few other systems, they've been releasing a ton of Konami collections. People were dogging on them about what they did with the TurboGrafx, rightfully so. Yeah. But then they release, the TurboGrafx Mini, which was fantastic. They should keep doing that stuff. So I'm kind of lightening up on both these companies that people have been giving a hard time for. And again, people gave them a hard time for good reason, but maybe they're coming around. We shall see. That's not one of Rob's predictions. That's just a hope. That's a hope. Yeah. And that's our news. I guess we got we don't have a topic, but I guess we got Game Club, right?
Yeah, we got some stuff there.
You want to do yours first? I've been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, that's true. So what did I do? So this BurgerTime game, BurgerTime Deluxe. This just came out on the Switch. It's a Game Boy game. I sort of vaguely remember it being a game. I think I played through about 20 levels, and it's really not bad. I mean, the level design has a lot of variety. It's mechanically Burger Time. You have a stage, there's the different layers of the burger. Mm-hmm. You walk across the layers to drop them down. It's kind of the same. I think it's all the same enemies coming after you, hot dog, pickle, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And you pick up bonus, pepper charges, because you can use the pepper to temporarily stun your enemies. And if an enemy's on a patty, when you walk on it, it drops further and so on. So it's mechanically Burger Time. But now it's like all new levels, and most of them fit fairly well on one Game Boy screen. Some of them, as you get later on, they start scrolling. Mm-hmm. Like they scroll left and I don't think I got to a level that scrolls horizontally and vertically, but definitely, definitely left to right. That's horizontal, right? Yeah, there's horizontal scrolling levels where they loop around.
Yeah.
I don't recall a vertical scrolling level. But maybe that's later or maybe never. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier in the arcade game. Again, it's not trying to like steal a bunch of quarters from you. So it's I mean, if you have the Switch Online thing, it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah, that was a note I made. There was a lot more peppers you could pick up, which made it a lot easier.
Yeah, they're pretty generous. I don't think there was a difficulty setting anywhere in the game that I saw. But again, that wasn't necessarily standard in that time either.
Yeah, I like this one. I only played it for like 30, 35 minutes. It was fun, like you said. It reminded me a lot of the Bubble Bobble for Game Boy, where,
Okay.
kind of the same quality of life things. It's a little bit easier. It went, like you said, more horizontal than the actual screen could hold. So that, a lot of similarities between these upgrades. And yeah, not much more to say about it other than I had a good time playing it.
Yeah, I was glad to see it finally come out. Like I said, I sort of vaguely remember it being a game, and it's kind of neat seeing some of these. I mean, I guess I would call it a deep cut, just maybe because I don't remember it. That doesn't mean it's a deep cut, but it's not a game you don't really think about this game much, and it's kind of cool that Nintendo is putting some of these. I mean, it could just be a matter of licensing. Like this is what they can get the license too cheap.
That's what I was going to say is, what group of suits were sitting around a board table saying like, yeah, let's do BurgerTime Deluxe. That's what will get us more subscribers.
Yeah. I think it's just, here's something we can put out for free.
Exactly. Yeah.
The company that owns the BurgerTime IP would like you to remember that BurgerTime exists.
Yes, exactly. Which it might be Atari now. Who knows? It's probably Atari or Microsoft.
It's
or Embracer.
Maybe, I don't know. Who originally released as Hamburger in Japan.
Okay.
All right. It was it's Data East. Japanese Data East Corporation was a Japanese video game pinball company. History. By the end of the 90s, most of Data East's video game library was acquired by Gmode, a Japanese mobile game content provider. However, some games are owned by Payon Corporation, like Karnov, Chalnov, Windjammers, and some other ones. And the RoboCop games were acquired by a different company.
Wow.
All right, so what did you play? Or what did you recommend? Some people have played it.
Yes, I played Cacoma Night in Bizyland. And, this is, everyone owned this game, right? This was...
Yeah, everybody.
No, this was a SNES game that I saw some Twitch streamer playing. In fact, he only had it because he used to work at a game store for a long time, and his friend had a bunch of rare SNES games that he wanted him to help clean up and price and stuff like that. So he was, playing these games that he didn't actually own. And this one really caught my eye because it just looked great. So this is a late 1992 SNES game, and it was developed by Effect, which I don't really know them. But so this is a Quicks-like. So Quicks being that game where you can draw a line across the screen and kind of trap things on one side. Well, this has light anime-like story elements to it. So I guess it's a Quicks anime RPG light, if we're getting technical. And so the people of Bizyland were really hardworking people. There was a prosperous country, and then one day the queen of Lazyland was jealous, and she used her mirror power, and I think she stole the princess or something like that. Or maybe she stole everyone. I forget the whole story, but somehow it's the people who were slacking off that did not get caught by her. Okay. So that includes the king of Bizyland, because he was playing golf, and it includes you, the player. And so you got some powers, and you can use your magic to draw across the screen, which is like a rundown, darker version of the picture that's behind it. And so as you draw across, just like in Quicks, you're drawing the same, then you see the actual image underneath it that looks like nice, bright, beautiful Bizyland. And there are many, many levels, and in each level, you have to unlock a certain percentage of the screen. You know, it usually starts out around 50 and it stays there for a long time, but it gets up into the 70s and higher. And really, the first many levels, you could do it in 2 lines, but then after that, it takes a lot more. But you do have enemies trying to hit you or run into your line before you've connected to the other side. It doesn't have to be a straight line, which is kind of cool. You can make some shapes. And then also underneath, there are some power-ups. So if you happen to unlock a section with a power-up, that can make you faster or get you more points and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed this game. I had a blast playing it. I played it for way longer than I thought it would. I played it for a few days, actually. After a while, it does get pretty hard. I stopped being good at it, but I really recommend this game. I think it's just expensive because no one bought it back in the day. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I didn't have a copy of this game. I did watch the speed run for it, which is something I do at lunch quite a bit. Is put on something entertaining. The video is no longer available because the YouTube account associated with this video has been terminated.
I wonder where they were on January 6th.
Yeah,
I'm sure they were Nazi sympathizers there.
Something happened. I don't know if YouTube scrubs those, but I wonder what happened there. I will have to look this up now. I'm sure there's some drama. I'll include a link to a what's this tool? Yeah, see, I was trying to watch a real speed run. The ones that are still online are tool assisted speed runs.
Oh, those aren't cool.
They're funny sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I lost my train of thought. What did this guy do to get suspended? I'm just okay. Anyhow, the graphics are going to be a lot of like RoboTrek for the Super Nintendo, which you probably haven't played.
No, I have not.
Okay. But the style sort of looked a lot like that. And the part that was confusing to me, and maybe it would be better when I played it, I couldn't really tell which parts of the screen you were supposed to were blocked and which parts you were supposed to unblock. You know what I mean? Like Quicks, it's basically black and white, right? If it's black, you're supposed to fill it in. If it's white, it's already filled in. And it's like is it kind of like the decayed world versus live world? That's sort of what you're supposed to be doing here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I got. But some of these levels, like the towns and stuff, it was really hard to tell the difference for me.
No, that was fine for me. I played it on my analog, so it was nice and bright, not a big screen.
Okay.
But I just looked up this developer, and it looks like this might be their only game that made it to the States. Which I'm actually surprised this one made it to America. But looks like they stopped in about 2008. They were doing some weird DS games.
Yeah. But I really don't ever remember this being in a store. So, I really, when you mentioned it, I think it's the first time I ever heard of the game.
Yeah. When I saw it on Twitch, I had never heard of it, but I'm glad I did. I really like it. I didn't realize how much I liked Quicks-like games.
Yeah, I like Quicks-like games if they're super easy. I mean, I assume you played the one on Arcade Paradise, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a good one, too.
Yeah, that was not as difficult as original Quicks.
I'm trying to think of what it was called. I can't remember.
It's called Liney or something.
Yeah, they had funny names.
Yeah, it was things that were close to it, but that wasn't literally the title, but at least you understood what I was saying.
What do you think you're going to play next?
I'm going to play Missile Command. I know it sounds bad, but I was going to do this a while ago, but then a war broke out, so I took it off and replaced it with a different game. So I decided I will go back and revisit Missile Command.
That's funny because Advance Wars for the Switch was postponed for the same reason, and it just arrived in my mail yesterday. So you and Nintendo both decided that it's been long enough. We could play war games again.
The reality is that, this is maybe I'm going to sound very cynical here. There's always going to be a war somewhere, I think there's a war in Sudan right now as we're recording.
Yeah.
That just broke out. So the reality is, like, I want to play Missile Command. So
yeah, never a good time, or always good time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to play Metroid Prime.
Okay.
So if any of our listeners play Missile Command, Metroid Prime, BurgerTime Deluxe, Night in Bizyland, if you try out Final Fantasy CD with its real colors, if you're doing a MiSTer with all the new cores, or if you're playing an upskirt game on your PCFX.
Okay. Don't write us about that.
Don't write us about that one. Write us about everything else, especially if you do the Mesen HD texture packs. I'm really, really interested in that. Anyway, please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email retrogameclub.net. We have our link tree on there that Zach takes care of all of our socials. And I think we're even still on Twitter.
Yeah. So I want to go back to one thing, though, real quick. So the Nintendo Switch online library, right, for both NES, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy is starting to make a little more sense to me. So I looked at Gmode. So Gmode was the company that bought some, but not all, of the Data East IP. And that list is like, oh, bump and jump. Well, there's a version of that, I think, on the Switch. BurgerTime Deluxe. There were a bunch of other games I saw. Yeah, Fighter's History. I'm like, Fighter's History, that's a weird game to put out, but here it is. They own Heavy Barrel, which I don't think has really been ported so much. But like Joe and Mac, which I think is on the Switch. Magical Drop definitely is on the Switch. So it's like, oh, I see. They just signed, like Side Pocket just got released on the Switch also. So yeah, it's a lot of this IP. A lot of their IP is on Switch.
Huh. Weird. But yeah, it's starting to make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they're just I mean, if you look at this company, they started in 2006 and they were making games for Java compatible mobile phones. So this would be just barely pre-iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So these are the old, Java mobile games. You may have had one. I think I actually had a Quix clone at one point.
Yeah, and Snake clones.
All that stuff, yeah. So that's what they were doing, and they just got into that business at totally the wrong time.
Yes.
And on their website, they have something called the Data East Revival Project. Are you looking for Data East license? Here is the answer. Gmode owns over 100 titles of Data East. Gmode Corporation owns licenses of more than 100 titles. We are looking for a partner who would work with us to bring it into the world. So this is basically if you want to license Data East IP, they have a form you can fill out.
And so they just haven't heard of Digital Eclipse yet. Like, can someone just send them Digital Eclipse's phone number and say, help these people?
Yeah, or they'll end up selling it all to the Atari holding company or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, again, since they're doing decent collections, I don't really mind what the holding company there is doing.
Yeah. Okay, what do we got? Crap.
Listener feedback. All right, I will jump right into this. Ollie wrote in. He wanted to email this episode because he and his friend held a retro gaming event over in their tiny island. He's in original Jersey. Is that right?
I just remember it's a tiny island.
Yes,
in UK.
It's not New Jersey. It's original Jersey. And one of the games they picked was POW on the MiSTer, which we just talked about. He said that it does have it does have a lot of resemblance to Metal Gear. Basically the same style, but he was really bad at it. It kind of feels on par with Double Dragon as far as mechanics, and it's nice to use a machine gun for a while.
It really is.
Yes. Really enjoys hearing any mention of the Master System. Wondered if we ever wanted to talk about the FM sound chip in the Master System that was removed for the US and UK releases. Did we talk about a project to re-add FM sound to games that removed it?
I'm sure we did. But, he says he didn't even know it existed till he got the analog, and I kind of feel the same way about I guess the Famicom had some better sound than the NES, or at least the floppies for it did. So I had no idea that existed too. So I've had kind of the same experience.
Yes. No, we haven't really talked about it. I've listened to some of the soundtracks. Yeah, we should look into that because I thought there was a project. Yeah, there's some project related to this. I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, Ollie, we'll look it up.
We'll look it up, yeah. And he also thought that Pac-Mania must have been a Lego sponsored game.
Yes. I'm still convinced of that.
Yes, I suppose so. All right. What else? Nate wrote in. He sent it to me. I don't know if he sent it to the show too. But it was about Doodle World on Switch and Steam because we were asking about how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it is being run through an emulator with a Unity front end. He worked with a developer or a publisher called Nami Tentu to do that. He didn't work on the emulator, of course. He was introduced to them by YouTuber John Riggs, who hopefully has not been suspended. Who also had a game ported through them. And yeah, he said they're very helpful, and it's still kind of a niche segment, but it's nice that these games are no longer limited to just, playing them on original hardware or, an emulator. It's kind of nice, you can get these on a real system.
Mm-hmm.
And the background borders when you're playing it on the Switch, because again, the Switch scales it to, NES resolution. So it has to have the border because the Switch is whatever, 1080p. What is it?
It's not
1920 by 1080.
It's not 4:3, but the Switch screen is just 720.
Okay. But anyhow, he used his kitchen table as the background for the game.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Let's see. Majors writes in to talk your comment about didn't realize a game was a masterpiece until finishing it. What game was that you're talking about?
I think it's when I started playing Metroid Prime. I was like, what game? Maybe it was Devil's Crush. I don't know. There's been a few of them though.
Okay, yeah, he was just wondering if we were getting into hidden gems territory, and I don't know. I think we did a hidden gems game this week because your Cacoma Night or whatever that was called.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get that right? Did I pronounce that right?
Bizyland.
Bizyland. Cacoma Night in Bizyland would be a hidden gem game, I think. Using a POW arcade board for testing. In his area, Bad Dudes is the PCB that a lot of people use because it's really cheap and plentiful.
Yeah, they're like $25.
He asked at Midwest Gaming Classic, did I visit the Gamers Week pod? I did not. I don't know if they had a panel. And the TurboFest area, yes, I went there. There was actually a homebrew TurboGrafx game there this year. I think I put a picture of it. Yeah, it was like a kind of urban champion style fighting game.
Cool.
Best Tetris port wants to recommend the Survivor mode in Tetris Ultimate. And then he sent some photos from an anime con in his area, which they set up a little mini arcade room in.
If all of these are Majors cabs, I am very impressed. That is crazy.
Yeah. And it looks like, I mean, I see Bust a Move on one of them. Some good stuff there.
Yeah, really, a lot of cabs I don't think I even recognize.
Well, if it's an anime convention, you probably have to try and pick games that are... I wonder what goes into selecting the games you would pick for an anime convention,
I feel like any fighting game would be, in there.
Yeah, if you want to pick a game that has like characters, people recognize.
Or maybe something like Twinkle Star Sprites would be good. Maybe some Bomberman that feels kind of anime. But none of these games look like anything we just listed.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that cube? There's one that looks like a cube. Looks like a Borg cube.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what that is. All right. Anything else I want to talk about here? French Pratt Will wrote in. Video and arcade top 10 was cheesy, but a beloved show in Canada. We watched it because it was pretty much all you had. The first host, so the host that we talked about, Nicholas Picolis, is that really his name?
Wow, I hope that's his name.
He was the main host who was known for his painfully obvious commentary, like press B to jump. It was considered trash, but we liked it because we only had 30 television channels in the pre-YouTube era. The show had sponsorships from Pioneer, Panasonic, and gave away shockwaves and 3DOs.
Well, what are shockwaves again?
I was thinking of the game Shockwave.
Or is that a controller? Wait, what? I'm gonna look this up.
Well, I think Shockwave was also a transformer, but I doubt that's what he's referring to. I was thinking the game Shockwave on 3DO is actually kind of what I was thinking.
No, I have no idea. There's an unlicensed NES game. Let me do Shockwave controller. Yeah, there's some Shockwave controllers for the PlayStation 4 that I see.
Well, that can't be.
That can't be it.
Yeah.
Or for PlayStation 2 also. But yeah, I don't know what those are.
For a while, anyways, he mentions many episodes just seemed like a Nintendo infomercial. Sorry, I can't talk.
That's what we said too, right?
Yeah. A better show from that era was Game Nation, which was edgier and cooler and felt like a TV version of Game Players magazine.
Maybe we'll do that one too.
Yeah, I am looking at this. It doesn't look familiar. Well, this is only a commercial though.
Yeah,
no, it's not a commercial. This is a 2-minute feature. Very low quality. We gotta find a better quality copy.
Yeah, I'm sure archive.org has got us covered.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, a lot of great feedback this week.
A lot of feedback, and someone's calling me.
And we got some great social media feedback. We had 2 questions this week. We had, what do you think was the best port of Tetris? And what games were system sellers for you? And this was submitted through our Discord, actually, from, this is Michael. And in no particular order, we had, let's see, we had Zach write in about his system sellers, and it was pretty much every Metroid game for any system.
Okay.
And someone remembers Video and Arcade Top 10 he watched a few times, and again he said what French Pet said was it's pretty much all we had, so we watched it. And again, you guys keep saying that, but once you listen to all of our TV show reviews, that one ranked pretty high. They seemed like the people who were kind of the only ones not on drugs. Someone talks about how Stern, there were 2 different Sterns. So Stern Electronics died in the 80s. So not the pinball company that did Berserk. Best Tetris ports, someone likes... let's see, what do people like on there? The Nintendo port, the Atari arcade version, which that's actually my least favorite. I don't not like it, but I don't know, out of all the Tetris ports, that's probably my least favorite. Also, when I'm at a bar or whatever and I see an arcade cabinet, if it's Tetris, that would kind of bore me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think was that like a competitive Tetris game? Like you were supposed to do it 2 players and see who could clear stages faster. Was it something like that? I've really seen like Tetris in the arcade like once or twice. I never came across it much.
I only remember it as single player, but again, I like barely played it. I even had a chance to buy one a few years ago for like $100, and I was kind of like, no, thank you. Tetris 99, which I would agree with, that is a fantastic game. Tetris Battle Gaiden. I don't know that one. And then Tetris DX, I think a lot of people would agree that's a great game. For me, I really like Tetris Effect. I mean, that is a fantastic game. And then, what's that first one? Cheddary? Is that how you pronounce it? For the 2600?
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce that. No.
I need to, yeah. I don't think I've ever said that out loud, which is always great to have a microphone in front of you when you start reading something for the first time. Let's see. Other system sellers, obviously Super Mario Brothers, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, BioShock for the PS3. I didn't think about that one ever. What else? Mega Man 8. That's a very surprising one. But he says for the PS1 before he knew the Saturn port was better. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Dreamcast. The Match of the Millennium for Neo Geo Pocket Color. I didn't even think about system sellers for that system.
Yeah.
And then Metal Gear Solid 2 for PS2. A very obvious one that I didn't think about, Final Fantasy 7 was probably the ultimate system seller, he says. And, I think I didn't think of these. Nate says the same thing for Final Fantasy 7. Because it wasn't a launch, I think I was thinking about launch titles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, versus like I bought a system to play this game specifically.
Yeah. And in fact, like I didn't buy a SNES until Link to the Past came out, What else do we have? Jurassic Park, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Wow. Aladdin for Genesis. What else do we have here? Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation. Mario Kart 64 for Game Boy, Pokemon. I didn't think about that either. Jeez, I guess I didn't think about a lot of these. I love this feedback.
Yeah, I mean, like, I still don't own a PlayStation 5, mostly because I don't want to deal with the logistics of buying a PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
But if they made Uncharted 5, there's a good chance I would buy one.
Yeah, actually, I just saw, because of the spring sale, they have, first of all, PlayStation 5, you could pretty much walk into a place and get now, or at least go to Sony's website and they'll send it within a week. But there's a PS5 upgraded, what's the collection of Uncharted games?
Yeah, it's the Uncharted collection. Yeah.
It's something of Thieves collection.
Yeah, it's the first 3 games, I think.
Yeah. They upgraded that for PS5. It's supposed to be pretty good. So Uncharted 5 would be a system seller for you for PS5. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I can't think, like, any other games that I want right now are on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll be like 2 years before Ys 10 comes to America, maybe 3. But I think they're making that for Switch. Like, there's going to be a PS5 version, but they're also making it for Switch, so I'll just get the Switch version. There's really nothing on PS5 I want right now.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find a few random ones in here, like Master System Phantasy Star, Genesis Strider, and TurboGrafx is Bonk. Yeah, Bonk was a system seller for me. Neo Geo Magician Lord, and then Saturn had Daytona USA and Virtua Cop. Any of these stand out for you? Breath of the Wild. I can't believe there's only one person that said that one. That's an easy one. And that was a launch title.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I bought the Super Nintendo mostly to play Link to the Past originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I guess what GameCube had for me such a weak lineup that I actually sold it pretty quickly. It was like, for me, it didn't have the system seller, at least in the beginning. And then after I sold it, I didn't care anymore until they became expensive. But yeah, that's a lot of social media we went through there. Please keep that coming. We really appreciate it. And please keep the emails coming. Email at retrogameclub.net. And those new Game Club games are Metroid Prime and Missile Command. So please check those out. And I think that wraps it up, right?
Yeah, I think so. So thanks for listening.
Yeah.